dubious food. It's too gross to even look at. A bizarre smell issues forth from this heap. Eating it won't hurt you, though, probably.
You eat a lot of dubious food, you're gonna be spending a lot of time in the bathroom. Let me tell you what.
It's bad when the dubious food looks like what you're gonna leave in the bathroom when you're done with the dubious food.
Exactly. That's why it's censored.
Mm-hmm. Poop.
Oh, don't you worry, Mike. Today we have an episode chock full of poop. Because let me just tell you, that's just how I'm feeling right now. Like poop.
Yeah, I heard you got a little bit of a cold there.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with me and my sinuses and my throat. Well, actually, my throat is fine. It's just I'm a little congested, and I'm opening up. I'm starting off slow here, but I need to kind of open up the whole can. You know how you open like a can of beans or like a Chef Boyardee, and you just start to peel that like metal aluminum part off. Well, I gotta get all of that. I gotta rip the whole lid off and explain everything from the beginning.
Do tell.
So yes, I've had a dubious week, I guess is the best way to put it. So yeah, first of all, I've been having a little bit of car troubles. Nothing really about driving the car has been bad, other than I went to get an inspection, and my mechanic was like, okay, you passed the inspection, but you're going to have to get your axles replaced at some point, and that could cost you about $900, which is like, oh, wonderful. Yeah, I didn't need to spend that money on anything that I actually like, might as well just throw it into this vehicle that just takes me from one point to the other. Okay, yeah. So that was annoying. Although, the more I talk with other people, a lot of people are just suggesting I go get like a second mechanic's opinion on that. So I'm probably going to end up going to another dealership and let them look at it, because I haven't had the axles replaced yet. Obviously, I wouldn't want to do it at my dealership because, generally speaking, most of the things that they have to do to your car are going to cost more money. So it's better to go to like a local mechanic. You can sometimes get better deals. So I'll probably do that at some point. Honestly, that's not like the biggest problem my week. Like, that's fine, I drive around a lot. My commute from my house to my job is about like 30 minutes. I also have to drive like to the gym from there, which is like another 15 minutes out of my way. So I get that. I'm driving a lot. It's okay. It happens. It's bad luck. I guess just rolling with that bad luck some more, and my car, I was out and about on Sunday, doing some errands, shopping, getting some food, what have you. And wouldn't you know it, I run over a nail. And I should have actually had more lead up to the story. I literally got out of my car, and I just heard this, and I'm like, that's not good. And I immediately...
Excuse me?
I immediately check my... Yeah, that's some dubious sounds you're hearing.
What is that dubious smell from that dubious sound that I heard?
And I go check my back tire immediately, because I'm like, I bet that's my tire, isn't it? And there it is, a big screw. Although, from what I understand, as I was in my room, I went through hell in a handball trying to get this tire. Like, I'm going a little bit all over the place. So Sunday, I ran over the screw with my tire, and I kind of just didn't really know what to do from there. I'm like, I should have probably went to like a automotive service. So this is just a little bit of hindsight in my end, but I just decided to go home, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to get this replaced, or I have a spare in the back. I'll figure this out later. I right now I just can't deal with this, so I just had to do some other stuff. And I come back to it Monday evening. I didn't actually drive my car, and it was a big hole. So like the tire is like, it's just completely like flat. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna try to change a tire, because I've never actually had to done that. So I'm like, okay. I would like to learn that skill, because I think that's something useful to know. So I go to take off the tire. Luckily in my car it has, I thought it was a whole spare tire, but it turns out it's just like a donut. And there was a jack in there, as well as like a tire iron and tools to kind of...
It sounds like you were just praying. Like, I really hope I have these things in the back of my trunk. I don't know. I never bought them before, so I really hope they're just in there.
Kind of.
I mean, The donut is kind of like it comes with the car, but I think it's funny. Like, man, I really hope I bought a jack.
Well, we did check like right away because some car, like my car, did just come with a jack and a tire and iron. Luckily, but yeah, if I didn't have that, I would just call the mechanic or something, or like a tow truck. But yeah, that was all there, and I'm like, okay, now we're gonna get going. We're gonna try to do this. So I initially take off all the nuts of the tire, then end up taking off the hubcap, and then to my I thought you didn't really have to take off the hubcap. From the thing I was reading online, and it was from like a very trusted automotive service thing. It said like you could just slide the tire off once you get the lug nuts off and elevate the or your vehicle or whatever. But I couldn't like get it to slide off for some reason. I was like tugging at it. I was trying to like shimmy it. I was like, why is this thing not coming off? So me and my girlfriend, we both never had to change a tire. Well, I'm not going to put words in her mouth. I don't know if she has, but I never had to change a tire. So we end up like trying to get deeper into the tire. Like I said, I took off the hubcap. We ended up taking out this like little safety pin that's in the tire that was probably to keep like the actual like, I don't know the terms, but like the metal part in the tire like together.
The rim?
Yeah. And wasn't there like more pieces, or is it just one? Is it just one piece? I'm not sure. I have no idea. This is how stupid I am with cars. I literally know like nothing. But yeah, anyways, we're like messing with that. It was like a little key like pin thing that you had to pull out, and then there was like this big like bolt, and we had no tool to like. We thought you had to take that bolt off to actually pull the tire off, and we ended up getting like a bigger wrench. We did have a small wrench, but we needed a bigger one. But then you couldn't like grip it properly, so I'm like, I don't know what to do. I think at this point I just gotta either check with my insurance.
You mean like in the center of the wheel?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was just the lug nuts. I don't recall there being like, I mean, there might be like one little like, I guess you can call it like a shaft, like a threaded shaft in the middle, but it's like the 5 or the 4 lug nuts that really hold the wheel on the axle. So I'm kind of curious what you mean by there's like a center bolt. That's interesting. What kind of car do you have again?
I have a 2014 Nissan Rogue.
Those Japanese. That's why it has that. I don't know. I'm just making that up.
So yeah, we go through all this, and then like literally like minutes ago, my girlfriend's mom, she lives right next to us, and she went to actually ask our neighbors, because our neighbors who live here also have like a little like auto garage, because they have like a car. I don't know what type of car it is, but they do like races. So they have like almost like a little mechanic shop like in the little garage down the road. And she asked them to help, and I guess they had something to easily just get the tire off. And from what I understand is, yeah, they're like, what the hell were you guys doing? Like, we just pulled it off and put the donut on, like, no problem. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I'm really curious what you were doing.
I also wish I was out there and watched him do it, because like I said, I don't know the knowledge, and like I can't even tell you, man. It was really hard to get those nuts off the tire to begin with too. Like I had to put my full force. Like I had the tire iron on a nut, and then I was like, my girlfriend's car was right next to mine, so I would like put one foot on the tire iron, and I would like balance and kind of like shimmy downwards to nudge these the nuts off the tire to get them to loosen up. And that's what I had to do, because that's how tight they were on the tire. Is crazy. I don't know if that's standard practice. It was just something I never did before.
I don't know. I guess maybe because they were never removed before. I don't know.
I also just didn't know if it was like, because I was just at the dealership, like maybe they just have a tool, like not a hand tire iron, but even like a drill or something to tighten them super like tight.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if they use like an impact gun, like like they use like they use their own like mechanical tools to drive it on there, so that's gonna make it a lot more tighter than hand tightening it.
Exactly.
So that could be maybe it sounds like they over tightened it, but.
It could be. I don't know. Because I was even going through my manual, and I saw that there is like a certain like tightness you're supposed to have on all the nuts. And I'm like, how the hell am I going to even do that by hand? Like, I don't even know how to do that. No. But apparently the donut's on there. So, I mean, at least that got solved. But now I have to find a way to get the tire patched. I pray to God that they can patch the tire. It was just one screw. I don't know how deep it is. I don't know, like, I just don't know a lot about that kind of stuff. So
If it's like in the center of the wheel, like it's a really easy fix. It's bad when it's on the side of the tire.
I think it's in the center, or it's
That's
mostly in
okay.
the center.
Yeah, then they'll be able to patch it up pretty easily. It's
Okay, cool.
because that's what. Yeah, like, that's actually a pretty easy fix. On the side of the tire, that's where it gets really bad.
Okay, cool. I actually noticed though when I was looking on my tire, it looked like I did run over some sort of like metal shard that was a little bit on the side, but that's not what caused the air to come out, because like I was saying, when I ran over this one nail and got in my car, I immediately heard the dubious noise that so I know that was from the top or the screw. It wasn't from whatever this other metal piece was on my tire. Also, interestingly enough, because the tire was sitting there for so long, when I actually tried to get it off like a day or two after, there was like a little like or like ecosystem on my tire. Like there were all these bugs already on there, and I was like, what the heck is going on? Like, why are you guys inhabiting my tire? You have the whole freaking planet. What's so fascinating about this tire? I don't get it. I digress though. That's my car problems. And then back to me being a little congested. I'm sure you can probably hear in the audio. One of my friends at work, he actually got sent home about a week ago exactly, because he wasn't feeling well. He was having like a little bit of a sore throat, and he later informed me that same day that it turns out that he went and got a COVID test and it came back positive. Now I decided to just I figured I would take a few days, because I've been in contact with many people who have had that same situation happen, where like someone they were very close to got COVID, but they didn't necessarily get COVID. So I'm like, I'll let this ride a few days. I don't mind getting swabbed. That's not that big of a deal to me, but I'm like, I'll just go a few days and just see how this goes. And if I start to feel a little weird, then I'll definitely go right away and get a test, because I have no problem with swabbing my own nose or someone else swabbing my nose. It's fine. So I played it a few days, and I ended up going to get a test today, and luckily enough, I do not have COVID. I don't know if maybe I have some other sort of cold, or maybe it's just allergies.
It's just Ebola. Don't worry.
Those darn allergies rearing their ugly face again. But yeah, that was definitely bugging me and scaring me, because I don't want to get COVID, honestly. Like I don't think I'm gonna die from it, but I don't think anyone wants to get it, honestly.
Well, I mean, would you want to have any sickness?
No,
Probably not.
no.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind having. Nah, I can't name anything.
And then just one more thing to top it all off of my week, and I'm sure you can laugh at this, Mike. It's okay. This one's kind of
I'm already laughing.
I literally just went to in my bathroom. I have like a double door like cabinet that just has like bathroom supplies, like toilet paper, tissues, like cleaners, what have you. And I was trying to open the bottom door, and I accidentally grabbed the top door, and I was like bent down. So the second I like whipped this top door open, I just clunked myself on the head so hard. I thought I literally almost got a concussion, because like it just hurt so bad. Jesus. I started crying. I was such a big baby about it, but I was like so distraught, because I was like not only upset by the pain, but I'm like, I'm such an idiot. I literally just opened the wrong door and I just whipped it open. I'm like, oh my God, this is so dumb. Go ahead.
You're going through like a midlife crisis right now, huh?
Oh God, I hope so. Please end this. It's too much.
No.
But yeah, it left quite a big welt, and then I ended up icing it, and now it honestly kind of looks fine. It's just a little bit tender. But yeah, it was brutal. I've had a rough week. Minus Memorial Day. I mean, I had a nice 3-day weekend. I did end up going to visit my family. Luckily, they're all like COVID vaccinated. I know that doesn't mean that they're secure, but I was trying to be like a little bit more like cautious because of what happened with my friend, like even wearing a mask. And even though they're like, oh, we're outside, it's fine. And I'm like, I still feel bad. But that was still a good day. We had a lot of fun. Got my cornhole reps in there. I love cornhole. It's so much fun. Also, just being around my family, they're fucking hilarious. They make me crack up. Before I pass the baton over to you, Mike, I also wanted to add, this was just a funny thing that happened today with me and my girlfriend. We were driving, and we both have Android-powered devices that have like the Google Assistant. So, I don't mean to trigger everyone's assistance, but you can say like, "Okay, Google," and then it will do the little thing like doo-doo, like, and then you can start talking to it. Be like, "Oh, what's the weather like today?" Or, "Oh, how do you make dubious food? What are the ingredients?" Well, when we were driving there, we were just making like silly jokes, and I said something like, "Okay, poo-poo," and I kid you not, the assistant came up, and then my girlfriend said the same thing, "Okay, poo-poo," and it came up again, like the little doo-doo. So all I'm saying is we can have the greatest ass instant, "Okay, poo-poo." That's my AVG. That's my AVGN humor joke. Thank you.
Oh, Corey. Son, I'm disappointed.
It brought me joy in this.
If it brought you joy, I'm happy to hear that.
This void of darkness. It made me. We were laughing that it worked. You could say "Okay, poo poo," and then the Google Assistant would be like, "What can I help you with?" And of course,
don't call me poo poo.
I don't want to.
I thought you were gonna say like it actually like talk back to you, like like do not call me that.
We couldn't recreate it, and then we thought the AI and like the FBI were just messing with us, because then we were just shouting "Okay, poo poo" at the phone for about 5 minutes in the car, and I'm like, we must look ridiculous.
Like the neighbors are just like, "Oh my god, there goes Corey and Megan again, just yelling at their car, calling it poo poo."
We're children. How was your week?
Well,
it must have been better, right?
No. Well, I'm going to start with the bad news first. Well, I wouldn't call it news, but just the bad part of my week. It was definitely it was similar to you, car trouble. So I also took my car to get inspected, and of course, like the genius that I am, I waited to the end of the month when the inspection's due for January or June, excuse me.
January. Oh my god!
I'm really behind that. Oh my god! Good thing the cops haven't called me yet. But so I knew like there might be a few things in my car needs to get done, but I took it over to like the local Goodyear. Like they're like one of those chain like garage places, and I've had bad experiences with them before, and I stupidly still go to them just because they're so convenient, because I can walk to the place, so I can drop my car off, and then it's like a 2-minute walk back to my house. So that's why I keep doing it.
I get it.
Yeah, but like I really shouldn't be prioritizing that convenience. It's not worth the money, because I always end up spending so much money at this place, because they like like many other like chain places, they tend to charge more. So anyway, I still dropped it off, and then I got it was a Saturday morning when I dropped it off at Saturday morning at 8 a.m. when the place opened up. Like I called ahead of time and said, yeah, I want to drop it off like as soon as possible on Saturday, because I just didn't have time to do it during the week. It was a very busy week for me at work. And, on Saturday, I figured, like, while I'm waiting for my car to get done, you and I were recording some games. We were recording No More Heroes and AM2R.
Yeah, it was quite fun.
Yeah, it was quite fun. And then, of course, like twice, I got phone calls from the garage indicating, like, "Oh, sir, you need to do this and that. And oh, sir, your car failed the emissions test. And oh, sir, we can't do the safety test until your car passes the emission test." And to do that, I had to pay, and also I was getting in an oil change. So eventually, I went over there to pick the car up after they did all the work that had to get done just for the emission test. And it wasn't even that much. All they had to do, according to them, they said I had a bad solenoid valve, which is basically just like an automated valve. They said they had to replace it, and that's why I did legit have my check engine light come on Friday, shockingly. So they said, "Oh yeah, that's because of this valve." So they said we have to replace it, and then you have to drive your car for like anywhere between 50 to 100 miles to get like this thing to like cycle, I guess, so that way it is like properly like working. And then they can perform another emission test. And so, and they said that they were going to charge me for free for that second test. However, it ended up being like over $400 for the oil change, the emission test, which fails. They charged me, I like over $100 for the diagnostic on the check engine light, like to see what's wrong. Like, why is your car giving you the check engine light? That's $100. It was like well over $100. And then for the valve and the replacement of the valve, it totaled like over $400. And I was just livid because then they said, yeah, and then we didn't do the safety test yet, but they did say, well, we did look at the car and we can tell you that we think like, or we think we will the car will not pass the safety inspection unless you get all of these other things done. And then they gave me a quote for $1,300 to get my rear tires replaced, which I will admit the rear tires could definitely get replaced, but like then it was a combination of so many other things, and it was just an insane amount of money. And so then finally, like I was just so mad, and I said, I'll pay for the safety or the emission test, and I'll come back for that. And I said I'm going to think about the other stuff. So unfortunately, I have to. Well, I went to Sam's Club. Apparently, Sam's Club is where you can get some pretty affordable car parts. So I'm going to buy the tires from them, and they can replace my tires. And I'm going to go over to AutoZone and get like all the other little knickknacks that they're saying, like filters and like a light bulb for the light of my license plate. Long story short, that really got me bitter all weekend.
Oh yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah.
That's
especially
really unfortunate to hear.
Yeah, that's what it is. But it was like that, and in combination, just like a really busy week. In fact, I felt so bad because I couldn't record with you this week for the podcast. I know you had your buddy, it was Billy, right?
Billy, yep.
Yeah, I'm glad that Billy was able to be a guest on the show. I think he did a very good job.
He did. It was nice talking to him.
Yeah. I was just bummed that like my week was just so busy, and then that kind of just that really got me like fuming mad. But on the bright side, Sunday we had a nice barbecue because the rain stopped a little bit, so we had a barbecue for like a little Memorial Day barbecue, and then on Monday. I went to a buddy's place for like his Memorial Day barbecue. So that was all well and good, and that made the weekend, end on a good note. But yeah,
well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, but yeah, car problems are never fun.
Yeah, I think everyone can relate to that. With that being said, I'll ask, what'd you eat on the cookout? The Memorial Day.
Well, for my barbecue on Sunday, we just kept it basic, and we just had burgers and hot dogs, just really basic. I offered to cook like chicken and pork chops and other good stuff, but we just kept it simple. And then on Monday we had a pork shoulder, so it was like a
ooh,
yeah. It was actually my buddy Pete. He has a smoker, and so he actually put like a big pork shoulder in the smoker. And then it fell apart. It was just so we had pulled pork sandwiches. Oh man, it was so good, so good.
My mouth is watering right now.
I know. I need a napkin.
My family went. My mom usually likes to do seafood, so we'll do like steamed clams, steamed shrimp. She'll make some corn on the cob,
steamed hams. My favorite.
And we did some chicken on the grill. That was really good. And then I'm always
I saw the pictures from your Instagram. It was pretty it looked very appetizing.
I'm always the dessert guy, so what I usually do, and this usually kicks off during Memorial Day till like I would say the end of summer, is I'll do like a very basic like white cake, but then I'll take like fresh strawberries and blueberries and I'll cut them up into like little bite-sized chunks, and I'll kind of like throw them in the cake. So then when it bakes, they get all like nice and soft, and the flavors really like beautifully, like the juices come out and it's delicious. Then I'll just top it with a nice Cool Whip frosting, and then I'll kind of like decorate it with some more fresh fruit. And it's just like a nice, simple, light like dessert cake, but so good every time. Oh,
that does sound really good.
If you want more of that, though, you're gonna have to check out Food With Me. That's the best I got right now. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a rough week. Anywho, let's kick this podcast off with a bang. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Level With Me podcast, episode 96. I am one of your hosts, Game Bro Corey. How you doing, folks? And I am joined by my co-host, Mike, aka The Collector's Vault. Happy to have you back, Mike. How you doing?
Oh, Corey, my car just broke again. I'll be right back. I have to go to the mechanics.
Oh, I think I just heard an explosion outside. Let me go check my car. Oh, what? Godzilla attacked in the middle of Pennsylvania? What are the odds? And he just smushed my car? God.
Oh, don't worry. I remember you bought the Godzilla over the Kaiju insurance. So you're good to go.
Kaiju. I like that.
I'm pretty sure everyone in Japan has Kaiju insurance. Because like when Mothra attacks, we're like, oh, here we go again. Good thing Geico offered Kaiju insurance this year.
I hear that's big on the West Coast, because they're kind of close to Japan.
Yeah, Godzilla can go either way, left to Japan, or west to Japan, or east to United States. Gotta be careful with that. But yeah, hello everybody, welcome back to Level with Me. It's good to be back. It's good to good to be here and just to talk about some fun stuff, have some laughs.
Woo! Video games laughs. Woo!
I love video games
That's
and
what we're all
laughing.
about. And a lot of dubious smells.
Dubious video games. Like the one we might be talking about very soon.
Yes. All those dubious games like Sonic and Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic the Dubious Hog. And Dubious Chief.
Yeah, so I was going to say, you said a lot of dubious games. Well, that's pretty much all the news we got for today, guys. We actually, sometimes I'll have like little other stories in the beginning. We'll have like little movie news or anything. But no, we are the #1 video game podcast in the world. And we just have a bunch of video game news this week. Can you believe it?
It's fitting for the for the channel.
Get the bottle ready. Get those oven mitts. Here comes some fresh, hot video game news. You smell that? That's not dubious smells. That's good smells.
I dropped the bottle. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Well,
why am I holding this bottle?
Well, we're gonna have to get the mop and clean up that dubious mess. It is what it is.
I don't have my dubious mop with me though.
Oh right, you need a dubious mop to clean up the dubious mess. Oh yeah.
I guess I can just kick it under the table.
Oh yeah. That works.
That'd be very dubious of me.
Yeah. That's actually how you make dubious food. You like go under your table and you
just see what you can find. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you put it on a plate. Be like, there you go. And everyone's like, you want me to eat that? It's like it's all we got. What do you want? Ice cube soup or dubious food?
Holographic meatloaf, my favorite.
Ketchup sandwich or dubious food. Here at Level With Me, we don't want you to eat ice cube soup or ketchup sandwich. We want you to have a very nourishing video game oriented meal. We want you to have a PS5 on your plate, made with a side, a Xbox Series X, and then for dessert, obviously Nintendo Switch, as it should be.
Ooh, I'll take seconds, please.
Speaking of all those video games, E3 is upon us. It's actually in like 2 weeks, give or take. It's kind of wild. This year's moving fast. Like we're halfway done with it. Wild. But yes, official E3 2021 awards show announced. E3 organizer ESA has announced that there will be an official E3 2021 awards show held on the final day of E3 this year. Set to be held on June 15th, the E3 2021 awards will be presented to the games that have been showcased across the 4-day live E3 event. The winners will be selected by editors from IGN, GameSpot, PC Gamer, and GamesRadar+. The awards are focused on the, quote, most anticipated games at E3, including all overall winner from all games shown across the entire show, as well as the most anticipated games from each of the participating developers and publishers. I mean, this is fun. It's a little bit of narcissism, but it's also fun,
Yeah, I'm not upset by it. I think it's just because they're just happy that we're back to doing this kind of stuff.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like this is almost an award show that is set up to fail a single video game, because I feel like in other years when E3 happened, Cyberpunk was the most anticipated game or won this like the highlighted game of E3, I think in
And then look what
2019.
happened, yeah.
And then exactly. So I hope that the game, whoever ends up winning the most anticipated game or whatever, doesn't get a little like too big for its britches or breach. How would you say it? Whatever. Pants. And then ends
the
up
pants don't fit.
and then ends up, becoming the next Cyberpunk, so to say. It's like, oh, we don't need to have all these features in our game. Fans already love us.
I think that depends on the developers. I mean, if it's sadly to say, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think they'll give it to like a Nintendo title. But I think if it were to be given to a Nintendo title, as we all know, Nintendo rarely ever like takes things out of the oven when they're not ready. They really let their games mature, So, and they won't release it until it's like properly done. So, I would like it to be a Nintendo title as the highly anticipated one. I think it all depends on what we see at E3.
I agree. I was gonna say never because I'm pretty sure Breath of the Wild did win that whenever they showed it off in 2015, 2016.
Well, there you go. And that game obviously came out. Well, the game has its issues, but the game is incredible. Like it's nothing. You can't compare that to Cyberpunk, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Yes, I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited for E3 in general. There have actually been a lot of like little video game reveal events happening, which we'll talk about later, which have been getting me very excited. Even though I don't own a like PS5 or current gen console, whatever it's called, but these games look badass, to say it lightly. If you have a 4K TV, you should go watch some of these like gameplay reveals and gameplay demos in 4K. They look absolutely incredible. Speaking of some of the games that we will probably be seeing at E3 2021, Xbox and Bethesda's game showcase will take place on June 13th. Microsoft has announced that the Xbox and Bethesda game showcase will stream on Sunday, June 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific Time or 1 p.m. Eastern Time. In a new blog, Xbox announced that its 19-minute show will be, quote, packed with everything you want to know about the upcoming lineup from Xbox and Bethesda, includes games coming to Xbox this holiday, upcoming Xbox game releases, and more. And I will quickly like to point out the logo that was shown in this Twitter picture. I believe this graphic, you can probably find it anywhere, but it's for the showcase. And on like the right side, you have a big area which features, I don't think any of them are Master Chief, but there are like 4 different Spartans, clearly emphasizing that they're going to show like stuff about Halo Infinite, obviously, maybe even new Halo games, who knows. And then on the bottom half, you kind of just see like this planet with a little bit of like a sun or some sort of like glare coming off of it.
It's a Pokeball.
It actually does look like a Pokeball.
Kind of.
Microsoft announces Pokemon
and
on
then
the
there's
Xbox.
Suits. And then here comes the cease and desist.
But what I was going to say is that this planet is actually very similar to the Starfield logo that was teased a few years ago, which is Bethesda's new upcoming RPG game, which is kind of like it's going to be almost like a Fallout or Elder Scrolls style RPG, but this one's very set on like space travel and space sci-fi focused. So people are speculating that they're probably going to show that off. Maybe we get a release date. I don't know. Way too early to predict that kind of stuff. But nonetheless, I'm excited to hear from Starfield or see Starfield stuff.
I don't know why. I keep thinking of Starlink. Is that the one that came out from Ubisoft?
Yes, that was the one that had like the Star Fox cross.
Yeah.
It was like Toys to Life. It had those little ships. It looked really cool. I heard it was good.
Yeah, because that was also a game where like there was like missions and space travel and traveling to different planets and everything. I don't know. I never played it, but I heard good things. I think it didn't do as well as they were hoping, though.
And of course, with this event, I'm sure we'll see more out of Rare's new title. I think it's called Everwild. Well, I hope we hear more of that. I hope we see something from the new Fable project that they teased. I forget when they first announced that, but I love the Fable series. I'd like to see more from that. Maybe even a new Gears of War title. Maybe even more like new first party like exclusive games on the Xbox, because they keep buying all these studios. Speaking of the Bethesda stuff, I would love to see that if they announce Wolfenstein 3. They have the New Order and New Colossus, which are both incredible games. Obviously, you got to complete that trilogy. I would love to see anything from that. It's been about like 3 or 4 years since the last one, so I'm sure that could be on the table. Obviously, like I said about Starfield, I think it's too early yet for Elder Scrolls 6. I think they're focusing on Starfield right now. I don't really know what else we could see from there. Of course, Doom Eternal just came out like a year ago, and they just added the other like DLCs. I guess there's like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo. Those are like 2 big new games coming to the PS5. It's really weird because Bethesda made these deals with Sony before Microsoft bought them, so 2 of Bethesda's like new games are like Sony exclusive games for like a year or so. It's very odd.
Those gosh darn Sony deals.
Speaking of Sony, perfect transition. PlayStation planning expansion into mobile games and apps. PlayStation is planning an expansion into mobile games and apps. The news was revealed thanks to a set of investors' relations documents published on May 26th. Within the document, Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan talks about the future expansions into the, quote, services, mobile, and social arenas, quote, potentially using existing Sony first-party IP. And this is his actual quote from his notes. We have been thinking about how players enjoy our content and have had some early success with experimenting with mobile games and apps to provide more choice to gamers. Let's see here. Ryan's notes, more specifically, he points out that the PlayStation's roster of first-party IPs can transition to smartphone gaming and complement our AAA games or live service games. And then the quote continues here. We are exploring the mobile market with some wonderful PlayStation franchises, so please stay tuned. Ryan says, it's not clear that the franchises will be part of these mobile experiments or how these projects will take shape, but seems fair to expect more mobile experiences from PlayStation in the future as part of a push to, quote, welcome millions of new gamers to the PlayStation family, unquote. We talked about this a few weeks ago on the podcast, how it seems like a lot of these these big AAA developers are starting to make a bigger effort on mobile because that market does make a lot of money, especially in I know in Asia, it's doing very well. And, we don't like to see these common practices that are in mobile games, like microtransactions and stuff like that are kind of scummy. But at the same time, maybe these studios will do something a little bit more different when they have a chance to actually make these. It's hard to say. I don't know. Because I almost want to compare this to when Nintendo started making mobile games. And I feel like a lot of Nintendo's mobile games have been very hit or miss, or they just do the same thing where it's it's just full of a lot of microtransactions or loot box kind of stuff, which is kind of scummy.
Yeah, I think it's just... I don't think it's bad to delve into the mobile market just because it is a thing. I guess I don't like it when they focus too much on it, which I don't think these companies are doing. They acknowledge that the mobile market is big, and it's foolish to not dip your toe in that pool.
Right.
Even when Nintendo did it. I'm pretty sure that Nintendo realized, when it comes down to it, they're a business. Why would they, not try to do the best that they try to do the best that they can to make money? But obviously, Nintendo always they don't prioritize profits. They do also try to make sure that the games are good, and I think there is a part of them that truly does care about their fan base, but a lot of it is all about making money. They're a business, so I think for them to not go the route of mobile gaming is probably a foolish thing to do economically, and the same can go for for PlayStation. Yeah, loot boxes are crummy, and all of that. That whole platform, or not platform, just that whole game style is just not for me, in my opinion. There's a few fun games for me, but there is a market though, and people, despite the fact that those things are crummy, some people just don't care. They love the loot box system. They love being able to gamble online and throw money at potentially getting a character or a racer or a fighter or whatever the game is.
Some people could say that they were born into it and molded by it. And it's all.
Oh yeah, know. The younger generation. I would say 10-year-old. It. Oh, I see what you're doing there. I see.
But it's true though.
Yeah, like 10-year-old or 11-year-olds now, because I would say mobile gaming was a thing back in like 2010. It was probably still like in its infancy, but it came out back then with like mobile games on like smartphones and everything. So as the kids got older and they became like 5, 6, 7 years old, like in the like 2016, 2017, and they get the kids nowadays are 5 and 6 years old getting their own cell phones. Then they start playing these games like Candy Crush and all that crap. So then, yeah, like they have truly, as you said, been molded by like these are the games I grew up with, games on my phone. It can't be ignored.
Back in my day, you would go in the App Store and you'd pay 99 cents and you'd get the full Doodle Jump or Fruit Ninja or Jetpack Joyride and you'd be good.
Back in my day, the best game was Snake. Ooh. On that Nokia phone.
Oh,
you weren't a real man until half the screen was a snake.
I remember one of the first games I actually bought this on one of my older phones. I don't remember the model of it, but it was a Street Fighter 2 port. You could not do special moves on that. I don't even know how I played that thing, man. There was because it's just the number pad. Like there wasn't even, I didn't even have one of those keyboard phones, so to say.
Crazy. Oh, you didn't have a sidekick?
No, I eventually did get a phone that would slide one way and you get the numpad, and then you slide the other way and you get the full keyboard. And I was like, this is actually pretty dope. I digress though. Mobile games are here. I guess kind of like what you were saying, like it's up to Sony to make sure like these games are actually like good and like quote fair. But again, like I also agree with what you're saying. Like this is just a huge market, and it makes sense why they would want to step in there, because I'm sure Nintendo is making a good amount of money through all these mobile games. Like a lot of these, I'm thinking of like the Sonic like runner game that's doing really well. I think there's like a Crash Bandicoot game that's doing really well. I saw
that recently, the Crash one.
And they can like increment like little expansions and add-ons. I'm thinking of like that Mario Kart mobile game, which keeps adding like new characters and new karts like every month or so. It's interesting.
Side note, is that game for Crash Bandicoot called Crash Dash?
I think maybe.
I gotta give Naughty Dog a call, and guys, I have a great name for that game. I don't care what you name it, give it that name, and then write me a check.
That's good. I like it. Speaking of Sony, we do have some additional news. Sony announces brand new public EVO tournaments. Sony has revealed a set of open format fighting tournaments ahead of EVO 2021. The EVO Community Series was revealed on the PlayStation blog today, dubbed, quote, a global celebration of the fighting game community. The ECS takes place between June 10th and August 3rd and will feature more than 120 tournaments around the world, with 74,000 in total prize money available to competitors. PlayStation made a meaningful move into the FGC esports scene when it acquired the Evolution Championship Series, that's EVO, in March of 2021, and this is the first public move into expanding the event. 3 PlayStation-hosted tournaments will also take place during the ECS, starting with the PlayStation Tournament FGC Arcade EVO Edition, which runs between June 10th and June 22nd. North America and European competitors with active PlayStation Plus subscriptions will be able to duke it out for the chance of winning part of a 20,000 prize pool in Grand Blue Fantasy Versus, Guilty Gear Strive, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, and Tekken 7. I just had to shout this out because I love FGC. I love fighting games. I'm glad that Sony seems to be doing a pretty good job, like trying to keep these communities alive and have like these like tournaments going on. Especially still in like this end wave, so to say, of the like pandemic, before we could just get back to actually like, going to a little venue, putting ass in the chairs and like actually fighting it out and fist bumping when the game is over, saying your GGs. I like this. Now, will these various fighting games have good online to support these matches? I know Guilty Gear Strive does. I don't know about the other ones. Moving on, though, if Mike has no comment on that. We have a plethora, like I mentioned earlier, of these games that have had these little kind of like reveal events where they'll be like, oh, we're going to show off the new gameplay for this game, or oh, we're going to have like a little like kind of direct style thing where they showcase just one game and like point out a bunch of new features and like just show off some nice pretty gameplay. The first one out of all of them is Far Cry 6, and this IGN article kind of encompasses a lot of the new stuff in Far Cry 6. Far Cry 6 takes big swings on new gameplay elements. The idea of guerrilla fantasy, building up a revolution from scratch and overthrowing a territorial despot, has been a staple of the Far Cry games, and although Far Cry 6 looks to carry on that tradition, don't be fooled. There's plenty of newness here too. During my hands-on interview with lead designer David Grivell, I was impressed with the fresh systems the team had baked into the latest game. For a series with...
I'm sorry, my internet just they died on me. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're good, Mike. I was just... no wonder you didn't comment on the last story, but you're good. We're talking about Far Cry 6. For a series with Far Cry's pedigree and built-in player base, they took bigger swings than they strictly needed to, from tweaking the game's outpost system to introducing the possibility of Hitman-like stealth to a wild array of cobbled-together weapons that we'll definitely get more into. Your quest to overthrow El Presidente and free the Yaran people aims to be put more gameplay options at your disposal than ever before. Most of what we learned about Far Cry 6 thus far has been about the world and cast, and fairly so. Giancarlo Esposito is an incredible get for the game's big bad. If anyone can rival the impact of Michael Mondo as Voss, it's the man who played Gus Fring. As Anton Castillo, the murderous El Presidente of the fictional Caribbean island nation and Cuba-like called Yara, he seems to want nothing more than to consolidate his power and hand the reins over to his son Diego before, in true Far Cry fashion, you wander into the plot and presumably throw a monkey wrench into his plans. I'm not going to go over this whole article because it's kind of long. I just wanted to say that this game looks sick. Please go look up some gameplay of Far Cry 6 and watch like these trailers, because they do go more in depth with like the story, and you can read other articles about Far Cry 6 like this because a lot of people have got hands-on with it. I'm a big fan of the Far Cry series. I think this game looks incredible, like visually. I'm very excited to eventually play it at some point. I think they usually do a good job with like the cast of characters as well as the gameplay and the different like game elements they add in there. It just looks really cool. This is go check this game out. And like this article points out, it has Giancarlo Esposito. He's a great actor. He looks really cool as like the bad guy. And
I think he always does well as any bad guy. I always am just like blown away. Like, yeah, put Gus Fring as the bad guy and it works.
He does have those vibes, and
he does. It's just he's always menacing. It's perfect.
Slight spoiler to The Mandalorian, but yeah, he's a great villain in that as well.
Oh yeah. Oh well, if people didn't know that by now, then they're just foolish.
Yeah, because season 1 came out in like 2019. Yeah. It's kind of
Where have you all been? Come
on. Okay, so yeah, that was Far Cry. Maybe I should have had this one first. Technically, it would have been a nice segue from the Sony news. I digress. Horizon Forbidden West, state of play. Lots of new gameplay, but no release date yet. We now know a bit more about Horizon Forbidden West. Sony showed quite a bit of gameplay today in the state of play stream, as well as some new enemies. However, PlayStation declined to reveal a new release date for its anticipated tentpole release. In a PlayStation blog following the state of play, Guerrilla Games narrative director Ben McCall wrote, "We don't have an exact release date yet, but development is on track and we'll have an update for you very soon. Instead, we're treated to an extended snippet of Horizon Forbidden West gameplay. Over the course of 14 minutes, we got to see new tools, combat techniques, and machines as Guerrilla Games showed off the upcoming sequel. And there is a big gameplay trailer out there for you to watch. It's about 17 minutes long. It's a little bit of gameplay, a little bit of the like game developers like talking about like what they changed and why they chose certain elements for the game. I think this game like visually looks incredible. I thought Horizon Zero Dawn looked really, really great on the PS4, and this game is proving to just like quadruple those expectations because it's very, very pretty. There's a really nice segment where Aloy actually like swims in the water, And just like seeing all the different like plant life and the different like species of like fish like swimming around, it's like incredible. I can't believe they're able to pull this kind of stuff off in video games. Not to mention the actual gameplay. This was a very combat focused demo, but there's way more like exploration elements in the Horizon games. It's kind of like an open world game. But they're adding like so many new like traversal items. Aloy has like one of those. She basically has like Link's glider from Breath of the Wild now. And people already compared Horizon a little bit to Legend of Zelda, and you're just seeing more elements being added. She has like a lot more tools. She has like this cool like super move on a cooldown where she kind of emits this big like EMP type shockwave where she'll like stun enemies, and then it appears like her spear gets like powered up. There's all sorts of new like robot dinosaur enemies. There's like these really cool velociraptor enemies who have like half chainsaw mouths. Ooh. I actually never finished the original Horizon Zero Dawn, so I can't really tell you what's going on with the story, but I enjoyed what I saw there. And then to wrap up the whole like gameplay segment, there's this like epic boss fight against this giant like woolly mammoth robot. It's super cool. Go check that out. That looks incredible. I think that game is also coming out on the PS4. I don't even know how that's going to run on there properly because it's breathtaking to see this gameplay. Last but not least, to round up these little like gameplay presentations and announcements, whatever you want to call them, Dying Light 2 gets a new title and a release date. Dying Light 2 has been renamed Dying Light 2 Stay Human and will now be released on December 7th, 2021 for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, and PC. Techland premiered a new gameplay trailer that showed off the current state of Dying Light 2 along with a new story synopsis. Players will take control of Aiden Goldwell, a survivor trying to piece together his past. 3 factions are vying for power over the scraps of civilization. Aiden can work for or against each of these factions to help shape your story, but at night, all 3 factions are at the mercy of the zombies. The new gameplay trailer showed off some core mechanics like the parkour traversal, as well as day and night cycle. While zombies roam freely during the night, their nests are empty, and venturing into these dangerous areas could reap great rewards. Combat can be tailored to your playstyle, whether that's focusing on melee, guns, or crafting. The world is also full of different NPCs you can choose to ally with or turn against. It also looks like Aiden might have to race against the time if he wants to stay human. This game looks fantastic. Dying Light 2 has been in the works for a few years now, and I know it's been very anticipated. They've been having a lot of like very ambitious ideas with this idea of story and these different like factions going on right now. And I think it looks incredible. I'm really digging this game. Again, I want you to all like go look some gameplay up of this. Like visually, I think it looks very impressive, and just how they were explaining like the different combat options, I think look like a lot of fun. And just like exploring this world, going into these like zombie nests at night, trying to reap these like great rewards, looks like a lot of fun. There's like a bunch of different variants of zombies, which is giving me a little bit of like a Left 4 Dead vibe. And the parkour elements, like you can just like zoom through these areas like you're Sonic the Hedgehog in a zombie apocalypse. It looks fantastic. Go check this out. Dying Light 2, Stay Human. Looks incredible. Now, we have some more news here before we get to our big Nintendo chunk at the end here. This is kind of a little public service announcement for y'all. Tell Me Why is free on Xbox and Steam throughout Pride Month. Tell Me Why will be free throughout Pride Month. Don't Nod announced today. From June 1st to June 30th, it will be possible to download the queer episodic adventure game to the platform of your choice, where it will be available permanently. Excuse me. In a post on Tell Me Why's official site, Don't Nod wrote that the decision is part of a desire to allow, quote, even more people to access the game. Don't Nod also hopes to encourage players to spend money in places that will directly affect trans and queer communities. This is a quote from Don't Nod themselves. We've received heartfelt messages from players all over the world about how Tyler's homecoming as a trans man and Allison's struggle with trauma have impacted them, encouraged them, or made them feel a little less alone, especially amid the ongoing global COVID-19 pandemic and pervasive transphobic rhetoric in places like the United States and the United Kingdom, Don't Nod wrote. In addition to revealing that Tell Me Why will be free, Don't Nod encouraged fans and support gamers by queer and trans creators. Some of the games Don't Nod listed included Spirit Swap by Soft Note Week, Inkfell by Happy Ray Games, and If Found by Dreamfell. I'm going to be honest, I never heard about those games. I might go check them out. Don't Nod, they make wonderful games. I have yet to play Tell Me Why. Now I have no excuse. It's free for a month. Everyone should go download this on one of those platforms and give it a try. I think it looks great. Don't Nod makes wonderful point-and-click adventure games with great characters, great stories. The game themselves also look visually incredible. Go check this game out. That's my public service announcement. Also, happy Pride Month. Love. Next up. Oh, did you have something to say, Mike? I'm sorry.
No comment.
To continue with some more news, there was actually like a small, I would call this like a Dragon Quest direct type of thing, because I believe sometime last week was the Dragon Quest 35th anniversary. I didn't actually point this out, but Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is having had a special tournament which featured like a bunch of games like 35th anniversaries. It was Dragon Quest, Legend of Zelda, Metroid, Kid Icarus, and I'm blanking. There was one more. I forget what the fifth one was. Was it Castlevania? I don't think it was Castlevania. I forget what the other one was. But I thought that was really cool. And they announced like some neat projects coming out of the Dragon Quest games. Even though I'm a little unfamiliar with it, I thought these games looked super dope. First off here, Dragon Quest III is being remade in the style of Octopath Traveler. Dragon Quest III is being remade in a similar style to Octopath Traveler, and it's just one of the several new Dragon Quest spin-offs announced. Dragon Quest III HD-2D Remake was announced during yesterday's Dragon Quest 35th anniversary stream, which also saw the announcement of Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate, which we'll talk about next. You can see the game in action on the Square Enix YouTube channel, where you'll note the 3D effects and assets have been added to the retro pixel backdrops, with sprites being updated for a new generation. It's become something of a signature style for Square Enix. Octopath Traveler offered a similar art style when it launched back in 2018, and it's been extended to the upcoming Project Triangle Strategy 2. I think this looks really cool. I've never actually touched any Dragon Quest game.
Me neither.
I do agree with what this editor is saying about the style of like Octopath Traveler. I think it's just beautiful, like 2D, 3D animation. This game looks incredible. I would really like to play this now, not having played any of these games. Not to mention Dragon Quest. Like, these games are awesome. For those of you who don't know, Dragon Quest, the artist is it's Toriyama, but is it Akira Toriyama?
Akira.
Yeah.
Akira Toriyama, yeah.
And for those of you who don't know who that is, that's the dude who made Dragon Ball. This is Dragon Ball art, but it's more like JRPG fantasy style. And literally for Dragon Quest 3, the main character, oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name. Does it actually say it in this article?
The Warrior.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, for those of you who don't know, he is one of the characters you can pick in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, one of the alts, and he's the one who literally just looks like Goku. Like, he has black spiky hair, and he has like a headband on, and he has like a cape. Like, he literally looks like a Goku, which is awesome. I think this looks cool. This is a fun new project coming out. I would like to check this out. I like JRPGs. I like Dragon Quest from behind the fence. I've never been in the Dragon Quest estate, but it seems cool. Pivoting from there, and we mentioned this in the other article, Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate, officially announced. Square Enix has officially announced Dragon Quest XII, The Flames of Fate. It was confirmed that Dragon Quest XII is planned for a simultaneous worldwide launch, but a release date was not discussed. Square Enix also stopped short of confirming any platforms for Dragon Quest XII is headed for. No trailer or teaser was unveiled, only a logo was showcased, which is the classic Dragon Quest logo with a very like flame coming out of the earth style 12 in Roman numeral. Dragon Quest Flames of Fate will be the first entry in the core series since Dragon Quest XI. which came out in July 17th and worldwide on September 2018. The existence of Dragon Quest XII was first revealed by the series creator Yuji Horii in a New Year's message published on January 1st, 2021, although very early preparations on the game had been hinted at in reports dating back to June 2019. And I believe that they talked about, like, this is going to be... It doesn't talk about this in the article, but they said that this is going to be, like, a more mature style of Dragon Quest game. And I'm curious to know what that means, because I did mention that this is made... Or the art style of Dragon Quest is made by Akira Toriyama, which, again, is known for, like, Dragon Ball. And I would say some of the art designs of Dragon Quest are a little bit more cutesy. I'm looking at you, like slime or like the enemies. They're all very like cartoony. So I'd be interested to know what they mean by like making this for a more mature audience or a more mature Dragon Quest game. That makes me scratch my head in curiosity. I want to see that thing.
I wonder if it has something to do with, like, I mean, just taking Dragon Ball Z, for example. Like, over time, Dragon Ball Z became, like, the artwork became more mature. Early on, Dragon Ball was more of like a comedy that did have fighting and martial arts involved. But it wasn't until, like, later in Dragon Ball and then Dragon Ball Z where, like, the art style got more mature, the show got more violent. Like, it really made a huge shift from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. So I think maybe he's doing something very similar for Dragon Quest, where, yeah, the art style is, it's Toriyama art style. Maybe he's gonna make it look a bit more edgy.
I could definitely see that.
Dragon Ball Z? I don't know.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, again, it's very early. I don't assume we're going to hear about this till sometime next year, but I think it's really cool. I believe Dragon Quest XI did do well for a Dragon Quest game. The Dragon Quest games aren't that big over here in the West or the United States. They're huge in Japan, though. I was actually watching this vlog from, I forget the name of the YouTuber, but it was like her and her boyfriend. They went to this like Dragon Quest like adventure park, and you basically get like a little like coin, and you go up to these like little sensors and you can scan your coin, and you actually make like your own little character, and you kind of like walk through this like little castle in this little town that's been made to be like you are playing an RPG, but like in real life. And you can like interact. You can find like little chests, and the chests will be like, oh, this is locked. You need to go find a key. And there's actually like NPCs in the town, and they're not like people. They're actually like a screen that you go up to, and they'll like talk to you and be like, oh, you need to find me these turnips, and then I'll trade you for something. And then you go like hunt for the turnips. And if you go into the woods, you can actually find like human-sized or accurate to scale size of some of the enemies, like the slimes or like the robots or like the dragons. And there's like different like little screens around the area, and you can scan your little coin and you can actually fight them. And if you win, you can level up and you get money, and you can turn to like go to the shop and get like better weapons or better armor. It looked really cool.
Neat.
I digress though. That looked really cool. I like Dragon Quest again vicariously. Speaking of dubious games, callbacks, Sonic Central stream. Everything announced, including a brand new Sonic game. Today's Sonic Central stream has revealed a number of new projects featuring the world's premier Blue Hedgehog, all designed to tie into the series' 30th anniversary celebrations. Here's everything revealed at Sonic Central stream, from a new Sonic game to a full Sonic Colors remaster. So like I mentioned, there's a new Sonic game coming out from Team Sonic. Sega announced that Sonic Team, which has previously released Sonic Generations and Sonic Forces, has begun work on a new mainline Sonic game. A teaser trailer revealed that the game will arrive in 2022 for PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. No other information was revealed, but the teaser shows Sonic picking up speed in a forest setting, which seems to cause digital effects around him before his trailer leaves behind what looks like a runic symbol. Did you check out this trailer? You're a Sonic fan,
not yet,
right?
No, but I want to. Well, yeah, I'm a 2D Sonic fan. I mean, I'm not the biggest 3D Sonic fan, but
Okay.
I did want to take a look at the trailer to see how good it looked, because I do like Sega, so I do want them to do good with the Sonic games.
Okay.
So I'll go take a look.
And like the article mentioned, Sonic Colors Ultimate revealed. Sonic Colors Ultimate is a remaster of the 2010 platformer, which will come to PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch and PC on September 7th. Developed by Blind Squirrel Entertainment, the remaster will update the game's look and feel, as well as add new features and a new mode called Rival Rush. Again, I don't really know a lot about the Sonic games, but I have heard from some people that Sonic Colors is like one of the better ones. So that's kind of cool that that's being remade. Maybe it's one I'll actually check out one day. Who knows?
Yeah, Stars Overdrive. Sorry, I'm looking at something on my phone. Yeah, Sonic Colors was actually like a really cool looking game. I mean, I think I played like bits and pieces of it, and it's visually a really nice looking game. And I think it was good compared to the games that it preceded, because there were some games like Sonic 06 and Shadow the Hedgehog that came out only a few years before Sonic Colors. So I think Sonic Colors was a great way to get Sonic back on the map. So I'm not sure if you ever saw the gameplay for that game, but it is a very, very pretty looking game.
Oh, I'll have to check out the trailer for that as well. I never did, honestly, so yeah, I'm not too sure. They also announced Sonic Origins compilation. Sega announces a new Sonic Origins, a compilation of Sonic the Hedgehog 1, 2, 3, and Knuckles, and Sonic CD, but there hasn't been a release date for that yet. And then there was a whole plethora of other weird Sonic things they announced, including an animated short related to Sonic Colors, cameos in other games, including 2 Point Hospital and the Olympic Games 2020, the official video game, and a lot of weird Sonic merch coming into reality, including what I just sent Mike, which are these just glorious pieces of bling bling that any notable gangster will be wearing this fall.
They are cool, but I would never wear one of these.
These are all the main cast of Sonic the Hedgehog. Of course, you have the Blue Blur himself. You got Knuckles, you got Tails, and the Edgelord Shadow himself. And these are like what I would say is probably like the size of your palm big, maybe like the size of a apple or something like that. And it's just the head of these characters.
Oh, that's pretty big. Wow.
Beautifully detailed with what appear to be the finest of jewels. Maybe Chaos Emeralds, who knows? And again, you get these. You get your nice big gold chains, and then you got your bling bling. You got your Shadow the Hedgehog, so they know not to mess with you. You're probably carrying a piece. If you got Knuckles, obviously that means you got the Fists of Fury. I don't know what it means if you got Tails. I don't want to know. Maybe that means you're slinging crack. Who knows? But yeah.
Whoa, whoa, edgy.
That's King Ice. If you want to go public or purchase any of these pieces of Sonic material, they're quite nice. Maybe the best Sonic content that came out of this stream here.
Oof, shots fired.
If you ask GameBro Corey. Next up here, moving away from the Sonic stream, I thought this was fun. This is kind of like leading into our Nintendo news here. I mean, I guess you could even say that about the last few stories, because a lot of this stuff is like Japanese and like Western themed developers like Square, Enix, and Dragon Quest, and then like Sega with Sonic. And this was just like a game that I really enjoyed, so I wanted to point it out too, because it's my podcast or our podcast, so I get to make the decisions of the news stories. Damn it! Bloodstained Ritual of Night sequel in development. Well-received Castlevania homage, Bloodstained Ritual of Night appears to be getting a sequel. Twitter's at Wario64 indicated that a 505 Games financial document included a slide discussing Bloodstained and mentioned that a second version is in development. No further details have been announced at this time, but we've contacted 505 Games for comment. The document was released as part of Digital Bros' financial year results and announced a series of updates regarding the Bloodstained franchise, including the series has sold more than 1 million copies, achieving revenues of 30.2 million euro, and a positive metric average of 8.1. I really enjoyed this game. The original Bloodstained launched in 2019 on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch, following an incredibly successful Kickstarter campaign, and has received 2 smaller spin-off games, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon and its sequel, and those are like just very classic style Castlevania games with like some slight alterations where like there's like 4 different characters and they all have different abilities, where the original Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is a very homage to Castlevania Symphony of the Night, where it literally is just a Metroidvania. You know, you explore this big castle, you find all sorts of weapons and abilities, and you slay these like demons, and you get like their powers after you kill them a certain amount of times, and you can upgrade your weapons. There's all sort of recipes you can cook, and the different foods give you different abilities. There's bosses, there's side quests, there's hidden things after you beat the game. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, wonderful, wonderful game. Very excited if this is true. I guess it's technically not confirmed yet, but I hope it is. And now, with that being said, as I was mentioning before, we're going to transition into the Nintendo news here at Level With Me podcast. We love Nintendo so much. That's right, Mike, say it. That we save all the Nintendo news for the very end. It's like our dessert. Kicking things off here, or maybe I should say smashing things off here. Nintendo is bringing Super Smash Bros., Splatoon 2, and Mario Kart 8 to high school esports with new partnership. Nintendo announced today that it will be investing in varsity esports with Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Splatoon 2 set to join popular games like Rocket League and Madden in high school competitions in fall 2021. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe will be added starting in spring 2022. The initiative is part of a new deal with PlayVS, a company that has partnered with high schools around the country to create varsity esports teams. PlayVS works with National Federation of State High School Associations to host and stream matches, make schedules, and compile statistics. In other words, it may soon be possible to letter in a varsity Super Smash Bros. Or Splatoon 2 team. What a world we live in.
Where was this when I was in high school?
I know, right? I would love this, considering how much I love Super Smash Brothers. And I remember back in the day when I was the nerdy kid who's like, you guys want to come play Super Smash Brothers Brawl? You don't forget your GameCube controllers. And now look at this, full circle. The Super Smash Brothers player is the jock of the high school now. What a time to be alive. Also, who the hell is playing Splatoon 2? That's a joke, right? Nothing against Splatoon, but I feel like that game is probably doesn't have that high of a player base. I may be wrong, though. I don't know.
Really? I heard it was the number one online shooter for the Switch.
I could see it. I just don't know.
Well, I mean, I guess it is their online shooter. So
sure,
whatever. Soon I'll have all the girlfriends.
Right, and you get your jacket with your, I don't know,
with their GameCube controller on it.
It's that I can't think of any names. God, forgive me, folks. I blame my car troubles. I blame me hitting my head by opening the wrong cabinet too fast. I knocked all the jokes out of my head. I'm sorry. Maybe I'll find them when I'm like cleaning my bathroom. Like, oh, there's one. Okay.
Little devil found you.
Speaking of Super Smash Brothers, Super Smash Bros. Creator isn't retiring from game development. Masahirp Sakurai, the creator of Super Smash Bros. Series, is not retiring from game development, but he will be quitting his weekly Famitsu column after 18 years. Yesterday's translation of Sakurai's comments from the latest column seemed to suggest that the game director was considering early retirement. IGN had the comment independently translated, and while Sakurai does discuss thinking about what he could do with his time after his career finishes, he makes very clear that he won't be quitting game development anytime soon. Discussing a recent holiday, which Sakurai says is his first in a decade, I believe that, Sakurai says, quote, "During the break, I also keep thinking about life after I quit making games. Everybody grows old eventually, and it's not like I'll be able to keep on working forever. Speaking honestly, it would be nice to have a bit more free time. There's something pretty attractive about the idea of early retirement, right?" He continues, "The question of how much longer can I keep working at this job does cross my mind pretty often. How long should I keep going for? What should I do afterwards? I believe these sorts of questions are particularly unavoidable for people my age or older. I do, I get it. Sakurai has literally like killed himself millions of times to just make sure that Ken's hair is the precise length that it was in the sprite that they had in Street Fighter 2, and he made sure that Banjo-Kazooie's left ear did the same animation it did in the N64 game. Like, he just puts the minutest of details that I think the majority of people would not even notice. And every time you just see the different characters that they add to the game, you always go like, oh my, they added that? And the amount of like songs they put in the game, the different like spirits that they're adding. I know people don't really care about that kind of stuff, but it is incredible. And seeing this, it always frustrates me whenever Nintendo does reveal a new Super Smash Brothers character and they almost get like crapped on immediately. I'm just like, you guys, like, I know it might not be the pick that you like, but you have to respect the amount of attention and detail that they put into the character they chose.
I agree. Like I feel like so many fans are just ungrateful for the amount of like literal blood and sweat. Not literal, but like Sakurai and his team, they put their blood and sweat into this game, So, God, ungrateful ingrates.
I also it's very inspiring, and maybe a little sad hearing that Sakurai only really went on like one vacation. Like, I appreciate his dedication to the job, but also, hey man, go take a vacation. You've done enough, man. There's like 90 characters in Smash Ultimate.
I think it's more like he is like I think he's definitely a workaholic. Like, yeah, sure, he almost killed himself to work, but I think he definitely gets off on working these crazy hours. He has to.
I definitely agree, and he likes just pleasing everyone. Like, to all those negative comments I was just pointing out, I'm sure there are millions of people who are always so excited to see the trailer. I mean, I know. I'm hoping that this E3, they're going to show the last two characters, and whoever they are, I'm going to be hyped seeing that like first second of the reveal trailer where we have no idea who it is, because it literally could be anyone at this point. And I like live for those moments. It makes me so giddy and so excited.
Me too.
Also, I swear I was reading part of this where he kind of was saying, and I feel like he says this after every Smash Brothers game, where he's like, this is my last one. I'm not going to come back and make another one. It's too much work. I'm okay with that, Sakurai. Go make more new games.
Just wait for the Switch 2. And it's like, all right, fine. Smash Ultimate 2.
He made Kid Icarus Uprising, and I know that's a controversial game just because of the controlling methods. A lot of people are like, oh, my wrist fell off my whole hand. Can you believe it? But that game's incredible. I love Kid Icarus Uprising. I would love to see a sequel or some sort of remaster.
Oh, I totally agree. That game is so like underrated. If you notice, every game that his company makes is actually really good.
The Kirby game is incredible.
Yeah. I'm not a big Kirby fan, but they're all very good games. I would say the Kirby games are like his least impressive games because the Kirby gameplay is very simplistic. But like every other game he makes, they're all incredible.
I agree. Yeah. I pretty much said my piece on that. I think we can move on. Speaking of more Nintendo news here, this is kind of a light one, but we can talk about it. Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes get release dates. Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl will officially launch on Nintendo Switch on November 19th, 2021, and Pokemon Legends Arceus arriving a couple months later on January 28th, 2022. As well with these announcements, they also revealed the box arts for the games. Pokemon Diamond or Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl kind of feature these like very nice 3D renders of Palkia and Dialga with like the parts that showcase the Diamond and Pearl kind of radiating these blue and pink lines, which look cool. I definitely would love to point out, though, the fantastic artwork for Pokemon Legends Arceus, which definitely is a nod to what people are expecting this game to kind of be like. An open world game, specifically inspired by Breath of the Wild. Even the box art has your heroes looking over a cliff into the area that you get to explore, much like the original box art for Breath of the Wild. Now, I will say this as a slight tangent or something we could talk about, where a lot of people didn't really think that Pokemon Legends Arceus, when they first revealed it, looked like it ran that well. And people are a little skeptical that they actually think this game will launch on January 28th. It's hard to say because we didn't really see a lot of that game. They didn't even really show us like gameplay. It was just like the first trailer. So I would say we don't really know where that game is development-wise. I hope that it's just not going to come out like that and be like, it's fine. They wanted the open-world Pokemon game. Who cares what it looks like? I would hope they do put a little bit of attention and detail into it to make it look nice and pretty. I guess we'll see. I would think that this is something else that they'll show off at E3 if I'm a betting man.
I was also a little bit worried because, the game, it definitely looks better. It definitely looks better than Sword and Shield, but like at the same time, it's like I still see these like assets of Sword and Shield that they're using in Arceus, and it's like it looks better. It's definitely going in the right direction. Gameplay wise, I think it's going definitely in the right direction. I just hope it gets polished up a little bit more.
Right.
Just a little bit more.
And we're just not going to talk about the horrible overworld sprites for Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Everyone really hates those.
What, the chibi? I think people are going to learn to like it, because then I think like isn't like in game or like when you're in an actual battle, your sprites change to be more like normal size. Like
yeah, they look
no
like
chibi.
Sword and Shield. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's okay. I think the chibi art style. I mean, to be honest, like,
it didn't really offend me personally.
Link's Awakening.
Yeah. Moving on, though, maybe something that will make the graphics look better. New Nintendo Switch will reportedly be released as soon as September. Nintendo is allegedly planning to begin assembly of a new upgraded Switch as soon as July, with a planned release date in September or October of this year, and it could be revealed before E3 next month, or this month now. As reported by Bloomberg, this new console will likely be priced higher than the current model of $29.99, and the official announcement may happen prior to E3 to, quote, allow publishers to showcase their full range of Switch games at the global event. I totally buy it. I'm sipping their Kool-Aid. I want to believe. I hope this does happen. I think it makes a ton of sense to me.
I'm going to be cracking open that piggy bank of mine, because I want this.
I'm very excited for this, as I know many people are. There have been a lot of rumors speculating out there. Something that I actually thought was pretty neat that I learned about is they're apparently going to be changing the dock up, maybe. And apparently they're going to add some more USB ports, as well as a built-in Ethernet port, which I actually really appreciate, especially for fighting games. I'm looking at you, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, because having a wired connection really helps out with stability to make the game play smoother. Also, it'll just help if you want to like download a game. It'll be way more quicker than using Wi-Fi or something like that. It's a minor adjustment, but I think that's a cool thing. There are some other like new details going on around there, but if this doesn't get announced at the Direct or at E3, it's going to come very soon. Last but not least, this is kind of an interesting story here. Nintendo wins multi-million-dollar lawsuit against ROM hosting website. Nintendo has won a lawsuit against a ROM hosting website called ROM Universe. Very creative. As reported by Torrent Freak, the site's owner will have to pay $2.1 million in damages to Nintendo after the court ruled in the video game's company favor. You can read a court order from the suit on IGN. The lawsuit was filed back in September of 2019 with Nintendo seeking damages for copyright infringement and federal trademark infringement. This is because the ROM Universe website hosted pirated versions of Nintendo games that users could download. It also offered premium subscriptions that allowed ROM Universe subscribers to surpass a download limit. The website's owner filed a declaration saying that he, quote, denies and disputes that he uploaded any files to the said website, and at no time did he verify the content of said ROM file. But he had previously testified that, quote, he or his admin uploaded ROMs of Nintendo's copyrighted works, so the declaration was struck by the court. The thing that's interesting about this is apparently that he, like, defended himself in court. Like, I'm just shocked that he could have got away with this. Like, what? It's just nutty to me. I guess
we just want people to have fun playing our game.
That was his plea. His admin uploaded the ROMs. I had nothing to do with it. Go sue him. It's your website, buddy.
I didn't know what he was doing.
You clearly could have seen what he uploaded and saw the numbers and be like, oh, look, a lot of people download that Breath of the Wild. Maybe we should keep it on there to get the traction. Or the subscribers, however the model works. I know this might be a negative take, but I have no sympathy for people who do this kind of stuff. They
rolled the dice.
It's okay when it's like a game that you can't get anymore because you literally can't find copies of it like an older game. But when it's a modern game, like I'm very like there's no reason to pirate it. You know, just you can go buy it. You know.
Yeah.
That's how I
like an old game. Oh, I agree. Like an old Game Boy Advance game that never got released. Like, yeah, sure, whatever. You know, that's kind of like hinting at Nintendo. Like, hey, hint, we want Shanty release. Come on, or a re-release.
Oh my God! It was like a week or two ago, and Nintendo posted this big thing that was like, "Oh, hey, look at all these games that you can get with the like Nintendo NES collection and the SNES collection," and they showed off all the like titles that they pick and choose to put on there. And that's great and all, but I literally quote retweeted them and said, you know, it'd be nice to have an N64 or Game Boy Advanced emulator.
Yes, I agree.
Like, where is that? Like, come on. And you know that when Nintendo adds those, they're going to jump up the price. Now, granted, the price is really low right now, so it's probably not going to go up that much, but it's going to happen. But with that being said, that's going to do it for the news of the week.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we had a chock.
That was a good amount. All games, too. No movies.
Yup. And with that being said, we are now going to move on to our second part of the podcast where we talk about what we've been watching and playing over the past week. Mike, would you like to go first?
Sure. I think I'm a little overdue.
I was going to say you have an abundance of content to talk about. It's been like 3 weeks.
So I definitely want to...
Oh, no.
So it's been 2 weeks ago. Oops, sorry. I do want to apologize. I think my internet is cutting out again.
It's
so
being a little choppy. Yeah, let's let the listeners know. You can keep going. I think it'll be all right.
All right. So 2 weeks ago, I wanted to mention this and I totally forgot. But I've been watching The Bad Batch on Disney Plus for Star Wars. And I don't want to give too much of a spoiler away, but I will say that The Bad Batch is actually it's fun to watch. But it's definitely, I'm starting to get, I want more. Like the show started off with episode 1. It was like a 1 hour episode, like mini movie, I guess, you know? And it was great. I loved it. And the episode, well, the show is about the I think it's called like Squad 99. I think we saw them in the last final season of the Clone Wars that was released on Disney Plus. And these guys are just a batch of like, you know, of clone troopers that each have like they were like experimental clones, so they each have their own little like, you know, like perk or like, you know, strength. Like one's super strong, one's super smart, one has amazing reflexes, one is a great marksman, you know, etc. etc. And they're a fun batch of characters. So the show revolves around them, and it takes place right at the end of the third movie. So basically like the very final season of Clone Wars or the end of episode 3, that's where the show kicks off, where basically the war ends and all the Jedi are, Order 66 is in effect, so all the Jedi get killed. Now, because they are like those troopers, they weren't affected by that chip. Again, like for people who don't know, all the clone troopers have a chip in their head that was planted there by Palpatine and Dooku, and basically it's
and now we have that chip in our bloodstreams once you get the COVID vaccine. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, yeah. I told the CVS nurse, I'm like, man, is there a chip in this? And she's like, no. And then I fell asleep and I woke up in an alleyway. So I'm gonna take her word that there's no chip in that.
There's a bunch of red lights, and everyone was chanting, "Obey your emperor."
Do it. But yeah, so
oh no, you cut out again. Just explain the last few seconds. It just
am I
back? A little choppy. Yeah, you're good now. You're good now.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, so the show takes place again right after episode 3. All the Jedi are being eliminated, but the Bad Batch are for the most part unaffected by Order 66. So they are obviously rogue soldiers in the eyes of the other clone troopers. And the show, it started off great. I loved it, and I loved how they were basically getting the characters. We have Tarkin, we have the Grand Moff Tarkin getting involved because he's I want to basically no longer use clone troopers. I want to start using recruited soldiers. It's actually really interesting. But the last couple episodes I think were a little bit on the slow side. It's still fun and I still want to see it, but I'm getting reminded a lot of Rebels, because Rebels definitely had a lot of episodes would pop up. So while the show so far, I think we're 4 or maybe 5 episodes deep. 4 or 5, yeah. They air on Friday, so about 4 or 5 episodes in, the show's great. It's not the episodes have not been as good as episode 1, but I want to keep going at it. It's good Star Wars. I just think that they're just a lot of these past episodes have been more of a character development, which it's doing that. It's doing it very well. I guess one final thing I'll mention is that not only is it the Bad Batch troopers, but there is a new character called Omega, who is actually a clone herself, an actual an exact clone of Jango Fett, and she's actually a woman. She's actually a female clone, so it's that's kind of weird and strange. But she's like a little child, and she's an unusual clone. I'm pretty sure the show's gonna. Yeah, what was that?
Oh, I said that's interesting. That
character. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure the show's gonna obviously she's gonna get really more involved in the show. Right now, she's the child among the batch, and they look at her and they treat her or they raise her and they take care of her like she is their little sister almost. And so yeah, it's a fun show. Again, they're always dropping these little cameo appearances and everything. It's fun. I'm just waiting for it to be more story driven. I want it to get back to them trying to figure out what's going on with Order 66, figure out what's wrong with the clone troopers, all that stuff. I'm hoping it gets more into that. So we'll see. But the show is pretty cool so far.
Okay. Cool. I actually wanted to check that out.
Yeah, I would recommend it. Again, it's no Mandalorian, but the show is, or I should say, it's no Clone Wars. Because that show was really good. But basically, this is this is just an extension of the Clone Wars series. Same visuals and everything. It's good. I'm gonna keep at it, and yeah, definitely check it out, Corey. Now here's another show that actually really blew me away, and I feel bad. I think you might have said you've watched it before, and I think we talked about it before. We at least mentioned it, but I finally sat down and started watching the Castlevania series on Netflix.
Ooh,
yeah. So
I actually haven't started watching that yet.
You haven't?
I do want to now.
Awesome. So I'm not going to go into again. I'm going to do my best to not really give too many spoilers. But if anyone is a Castlevania fan, and I'm a very basic Castlevania fan, again, mainly of I only know so much of the first game and maybe Symphony of the Night. But this show does actually take place. Like it doesn't star Simon. It stars his I think his grandfather Trevor. And basically, this TV show is Castlevania 3, the video game on the NES. That's basically what the show is. So because technically Castlevania 3 is a prequel to Castlevania because it's like it shows where Dracula first started becoming evil, and you're playing as Simon's grandfather Trevor. And for the most part, Trevor and Simon are like the same character, like in the video game. But in the show, it's kind of cool because it shows you that Dracula, basically, like living out in I'm not sure where he is, like I forget.
Pennsylvania.
That's what I thought they were gonna say, but no, they do have like a name for the country. I think they're all like fictional countries that exist.
Undisclosed
I've never heard of
European
them.
Place.
I'm gonna say like right now, I'm pretty sure if any of our European listeners are like, "What are you talking about? That's where I live." Like, I'm sorry, I've never heard of some of these cities and countries. Maybe they're like smaller counties out in Europe, but anyway. So the show takes place where Dracula obviously is like a very powerful vampire. Like many people fear him, and he actually, and this is something that I knew but I didn't know much about, but he actually does. But like she becomes his wife, and so Lisa and Dracula do have a child together, and the child is Alucard, which I'm sure many people know him from the Castlevania series. So the show takes place basically showing how Dracula, met Lisa, and because she was human, like she kind of like showed Dracula that humans aren't all bad. Like she was the only reason why he didn't want to go out and kill humans. Like she was like his grasp on humanity and sanity. And unfortunately, because Lisa was actually like, she was like a, what are they called? Like an apothecary or whatever. She would like make medicines. And it's kind of cool because Dracula is so old. So he is actually incredibly smart, and he has like technologies from like throughout like the ages, like, all the great works of like, the Renaissance people. Like he has tech, like in his castle, there's like, like laboratories and libraries. So like he has a lot of knowledge and technology in his castle, and Lisa was using that to make medicines to take care of people. But the problem is that in this like like Middle Eastern age, the Catholic Church is involved, and they are very like, these are like the radical Catholics. So like if they see you doing like practicing medicine, they think it's witchcraft or like it's the devil's work, And unfortunately,
Is
they
that
actually
a Band-Aid?
Yeah.
Blasphemy! Heathens!
Yeah, but that's basically how crazy that this faction of the church is. And so they actually accuse Lisa of being a witch, and they burn her at the stake. And Dracula was not very happy to hear about that. So said, like, you guys took away like my... Oh, sorry, I think I cut it out. Whoop. Did I cut out? You hear me now?
You cut out a little bit there, but you're good. I can hear you.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah. So with Lisa being murdered, I burned at the stake. Dracula basically says, "All right, well, then screw this. I hate all humans. All humans must die now." And he rages war against humanity.
Fair. Yeah.
And that's basically where it starts, where he starts to take over Europe. He starts like gathering up his armies of other vampires. He starts recruiting vampires. He has like demons and like all the crazy monsters that you see like in Castlevania, and he starts just taking over cities and killing people. Like, and the show actually is incredibly gory. Like, it's actually like really crazy that this show is actually like a mature show. Like, they curse, they make sexual, like they actually do make like sexual references and innuendos. Like the blood and gore is actually like really cool. Like it's really violent. But that's kind of what I was expecting from a Castlevania show, so it's great.
Can I pop in real quick and say, is it on the level of like Invincible?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I would say it's on that level. I wouldn't say it. Yeah, I would say it's on that
I actually didn't know that, so that's actually wicked.
level. It's like it's really well done.
Nice.
It's funny. The warning, like, yeah. Actually, it's funny. The warning, like, the show's rated like whatever. I don't know. I don't know what the rating is for the show, but like it's funny because it says like it says like nudity and cursing. I'm like, wait a minute, nudity? I haven't seen any nudity yet, but I'm keeping my eye out for that.
Gotta see some Dracula cheeks.
And
I ain't talking about the face.
God, stop it. Anywho. But then the show is cool because now, with Dracula taking over Europe, we get introduced to Trevor Belmont, and just like in Castlevania 3, you learn that his family was similarly like outcast out of they were casted away or exiled from the county because their family also practiced the anti vampire stuff. Like they knew how to fight vampires and all the other like evil monsters of the world, and people thought of them as like they were like crazy and too dangerous. But then Trevor's kind of just walking around doing his whole thing.
La la la! I got a whip.
And what's funny because the show starts off with him in a bar getting drunk, and he's just like, "Just leave me alone. I'm just doing my own thing. Leave me alone." But then if people mess with him,
then he throws the whip at him. Then he throws the holy water that combusts in the flames.
Yeah, it's like pocket sand. Only it's holy water.
Why is this holy water catching me on fire? Ah!
But yeah, it's cool because then again, I'm not sure if you ever played Castlevania 3, but the show does have him meet characters that you see in Castlevania 3, like some of the other playable characters, I would say, and it just kind of goes on like this quest of him and his group going to take on Dracula. And it's fun. It's actually like a really fun show. Like once in a blue moon, a couple of the episodes might be a little bit too slow, where it gets involved with like Dracula having just like really like in-depth conversations with his army and his like generals. So that's kind of cool because some of these generals I didn't know about like in the game. I guess I'm not sure if they're just like maybe they're in the other Castlevania games, like the newer ones, I guess, which might be more story driven. But just watching it is pretty cool. The action scenes are really fun. It is kind of humorous sometimes too. Like there's like a joke here and there, but it's like sarcastic jokes. It's a very fun show to watch. And I just finished up season 2. I think there's 2 more seasons, and apparently the show I think is still going on. I think there's still like
I believe the final season comes out this year.
All right, well then I have something to look forward to because so far I'm really enjoying it, and I'll be watching season 3 probably this weekend.
I have to ask, and I guess this could be a minor spoiler, but do they do any nod to the wall meat? Oh God, he froze. Oh, I need to know.
I'm right here. Here I am. The wall meat, is that what you said?
Yeah. Iconic wall meat from Castlevania.
I thought they made the reference. Spoiler. At no point does he find meat in a wall.
Ah!
I know. Oh boy, pot roast.
That's gonna knock a whole point off the rating.
He does eat meat, like at one part when he goes to a city. Like he's like, "Oh, I'll take some of this meat," and I'm like, "Oh, that's probably what the nod is, but that's not good enough." Or he's just having food. I don't know. Like maybe I'm thinking too much into it. But yeah, very cool.
Awesome.
And so I've been watching a lot the past 2 weeks. And now what I've been playing, I really haven't been playing too much. I still have yet to play the final level for Doom Eternal. I promise you guys, I'm going to get to it eventually. It's been a very busy 2 weeks for me at work.
Yeah,
but this weekend I did get a chance to play more Yooka-Laylee, and I like areas to explore. I guess the whole map is now available to me, and I haven't gotten to all the actual levels yet, but I think all the levels are available. So I guess technically I'm getting close to what I guess you can call the end game, even though in this game you can go right to the final level and just the more levels you beat just makes the final level easier for you because you get more. As I mentioned, you get more of the bees for your battalion, and they give you more hit points. Now, there was one thing I did realize that when I was playing Yooka-Laylee in Impossible Lair this past week, is that there are no bosses. And I'm shocked that I didn't realize this earlier. But, because this is more... the gameplay style is, it's a 2D platformer, very similar to, Donkey Kong Country, which is why I really love this game. I realized, oh, wow, there are actually no boss battles. It's just level after level after level. And I was now that I think about it, or I thought about it when I realized this playing the game, I'm like, oh, I'm kind of bummed out that there were no actual bosses. Maybe every time you went to a new region of the map, there was a boss level, or you'd either fight this boss to progress to the next world, and that never happened. So I have to give finally like a bit of, and I've been speaking very highly of this game, but here's my first piece of negative criticism: there's no boss battles, and I'm very upset about that.
That's interesting. I can't really think of other games that don't really have boss battles.
Yeah, especially like in the 2D platformer, because you kind of just keep playing level after level, and again the levels are great. I love the gameplay, but I miss those boss battles, you know, because they were they are usually in the 2D platformers. But,
Hey,
oh well.
You're telling me you couldn't make a giant beaver or like a giant vulture that spits out coconuts?
Yeah.
Come on.
They have the ideas. I just don't know why they didn't implement them or think of something on their own. Maybe they could have had a beaver spitting out coconuts or whatever.
Good call. Yeah. Don't
And
say that
vulture
too loud. You don't want to give other people your ideas. You know, patent the beaver spitting out coconuts.
I'm gonna get right on it. But yeah, unfortunately, that's all I really played though. But yeah, again, I've been watching a lot this week. Sakurai, how about you?
All right, Mike. Well, first things off, speaking of Invincible, I am 2 episodes away from completing, so I'm up to episode 6.
Oh yeah,
Still fantastic, still going super, super strong. I really wanted to mention to you, because I talked about it with Billy a little bit last week, but I didn't get to go too in depth because I like to do that with you. I really enjoyed the 5th episode, which was about, I'm blanking on the name of the character because I'm horrible with names, but it was the like black character who has like the rock powers.
Oh, Titan. Is that his name?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it's just
Yeah.
Titan.
The guy. Yeah, the guy with the rock skin.
Yeah, he was in
Yeah.
like the first episode too, but then he like the 5th episode is mainly about him, kinda. And
I know you're talking about.
I
Where
actually
he asked for Invincible's help to take
Yep.
on the
Metalhead or whatever. Gadget
yeah
Head.
Machine Head. I think
Machine
that's
Head.
what it's called.
Yep.
I thought he was cool. He could when he talked, he almost like sang.
Yeah, he had like a auto-tune voice, and it made some of his lines like kind of funny.
Like, yeah.
Gave me a Daft Punk vibe, which I liked. But that episode was great. I thought that was really
Yeah.
cool. Honestly, it might be my favorite episode of all the ones I've saw, just because it was like a nice, like little, a different take on what's going on in the world. Like I thought that was fun. But then, of course, the last episode that
And
I
the
watched,
fight scene was crazy.
Yes, it was a crazy final fight. This like lion warrior character who comes out of nowhere with this big golden mace, and he's just wrecking all these characters. The new Guardians of the Globe are just getting absolutely destroyed. You see Invincible like actually almost die for the first time, which is wild. Full spoilers, by the way. Sorry, I guess I should have said warning, but
it's okay.
it's all right. Yeah. But that was great. And then again, we're gonna talk more about spoilers. Episode 6, that was also really interesting. You know, when they go to like the college campus with.
Oh yeah.
Is his friend named Nick?
I think it's Nick. Yeah.
Yeah. He like tags along, and it was really cool. You know, seeing like that mad scientist character and his like wild like
Cyborgs. Yeah.
in the sewer. That was really interesting. I'm still digging that show. It's fantastic. I'm kicking myself a little bit that I didn't have time to finish it, but we talked about up front. There was a lot going on in our weeks. Yeah. I hope by next podcast I do actually finish that, but we'll see. Still incredible. Also, what I ended up watching. So, some nights I like to just put on what I would call casual TV, where I can kind of turn my brain off a little bit and not like pay attention too much. Just kind of hang out with Megan, maybe drink a little, just chat. I think my sister actually signed up for Discovery Plus, which has a lot of fun like networks on there. There's like obviously Discovery Channel. There's like all the different type of cooking and food networks are on there. I believe like TLC is on there. There's a lot of different stuff on there. But I actually saw that Travel Channel has like all their content on there. And I was like, oh, I used to love Man vs. Food back in the day. So I ended up watching like 2 or 3 episodes of that. I've seen all the episodes of that show though, because I think it's been off the air for a few years now. So it's just all reruns. But I ended up searching for a show that I always heard about because I follow the host of it. He's like a famous comedian now. And it's the show that I started watching is called Bert the Conqueror. Have you ever heard of this show, Mike?
I've heard of it.
Okay. So
wait a minute. Is this like a newer show? Is that the claymation show that came out recently?
No, I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I mean, I'm probably thinking something totally different. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So, Bert the Conqueror follows comedian Bert Kreischer. I know him.
Oh, it's way off.
Yeah, I follow him from his comedy, and I heard that he did this before, and I always saw previews for this growing up, and I was like, oh, that show looks fun. But basically, the premise of the show is he will go to different states across the United States, and he'll kind of go into different like theme parks, and he'll basically go on like the wildest rides, and you'll kind of almost get like his perspective as well as like point of view, like being on the ride, and you'll learn like all these facts. Like he'll interview the like not the Imagineers, but the engineers who like created these things, and you'll learn like crazy statistics. And it's fun. Like Bert will go and like interview some of the, you know, just people attending the park and like ask them like, how many times have you rode this? Is it crazy? Like he'll talk about all the moments. And at the end of every episode, he'll generally do some sort of like really crazy like activity. For example, one of the episodes, I believe, was in Utah. This one family like built this like human slingshot essentially, which was made out of like a bunch of long elastic bands. And
sounds dangerous.
it doesn't actually like launch you out of the harness, but it will basically launch you forward. Then you'll kind of like go back and forth until you eventually like stop and they pull you down. But yeah, dude, they literally would pull Bert back with the like an ATV, and they just launch you. And yeah, like the whole time I'm just thinking like this doesn't look regulated. Like this is just someone made this in their backyard. Like this is just some redneck fun. Speaking of redneck fun, another episode was literally just that. It was just a big mud pool, and they had a one of those Caterpillar like digging machines, and they just tied like a string or some sort of rope on the end of the Caterpillar, like the part that actually digs, and they would just like basically swing you around, like it'd go around in a circle as you're like holding on to the rope with like a inflatable inner tube, or maybe you're on like a boogie board or something like that. And some people would get just whipped, you know, into the water. No one would ever get hurt, but it was just like crazy, just redneck fun. And even just one more to tickle your fancy. In Massachusetts, in this one like city, every year they'll have like this festival for St. Peter. He's like the patron saint of fishermen or something like that. And out in the ocean, there's like this 15-foot pole that's raised about like 15 or 20 feet off out of the ocean. And they'll grease it up with a bunch of vegetable grease, and they have a flag at the end of it. And basically they get like a bunch of people to try to run across this greased pole to get to the end and grab the flag. And you don't even like win a prize. You just win like bragging rights essentially, or like if you get the flag, like everyone in the town is watching and they'll all like love you or whatever. But it's just crazy watching these people like try to run across this greased pole. And a lot of people were like hitting themselves on the pole as they fell into the water. So, and it's almost like a double impact because you're going to get hurt by the pole, and then you're going to get hurt by the impact of hitting the water, however you hit the water, you know? So it's just fascinating to me seeing these like crazy events that happen around the United States that really like no one ever heard about. There was like another one where like people would carry their wives. I think it's called like the wife carry, or it's something very simple like that. And the way you carry them, I actually ended up doing this with Megan, is like your wife essentially, or the woman would actually like kind of reverse on the man. So her legs would be like on his shoulders, and she would like hug like the bottom of the waist, and then like her head would almost be around where the man's like butt is. But they would basically hold on to their wife and run through this little obstacle course. And this one actually had a prize. Whoever won got their wife's body weight in beer, and then they got like their wife's body weight times 5 in cash or something like that, which actually wasn't that bad. But it was just wild seeing like the people run around with the wives. Like it's just such a weird random event, which again, these things like fascinate me. I also like to see all the stuff about theme parks. I like living vicariously through Bert going on these crazy intense roller coasters because honestly, I'm kind of a chicken. When I go to a theme park, I mostly go on like the trains, the very grounded, slow rides. I like a good like dark ride or like a haunted house. Those are good for me. But
wimp.
Yeah, I've never been on a roller coaster. I'll go on a Ferris wheel. That's like the most intense. I'm a big baby.
Whoa! Too high.
I did get scared because they go pretty fast. They go faster than I would expect.
Stop it.
But that was Bert the Conqueror. It's a great show. I'm going to continue to watch that. It's fun. And last, for what I've been watching, I just recently finished up Bo Burnham's new special called Inside. Bo Burnham is another like comedian. He's a younger guy. He blew up like on YouTube way back in the day, like when YouTube first started in like 2005 or 2006. He's kind of like known for being like, he makes like a lot of songs and like music with his comedy. And he's put on like great other specials. They're all on Netflix if you guys ever want to check them out. This latest one, he all like self-produced it, and it is only starring him. And it's basically almost like what he kind of did in his like quarantine or isolation, like through the beginning of the pandemic to the end of the pandemic. And it was really well done. I enjoyed a lot of the bits in there. Although I will say that like Bo Burnham does a really good job, like kind of threading the needle between like comedy and reality. So like around like there's a lot of like you begin with this special and you're like laughing at all this stuff, but then like the further and further you get down, it starts to like really get to you and be like, oh yeah, these are like the horrible shortcomings of like our reality and like everything that's going on around us right now. And it's kind of like it kind of bums you out. And also just seeing everything that's happening to Bo himself, because it kind of explains a little bit in this special how like he took a little bit of a hiatus from comedy because he was getting like bad panic attacks like on stage, and he actually wanted to come back to comedy right before the pandemic started. And then yeah, it started and he was like, oh well, now I have to stay in my house for like a whole year. Isn't that horrible? But it was really well done, like really well produced. There was a lot of cool like camera shots for literally it's shot in like 2 rooms. It's like a small living room and a small kitchen. And it's really crazy how he does like all the different shots and effects. He has these cool like lighting machines, so like every shot looks different. It's almost always like a different. It's really well done. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, that was Bo Burnham's Inside. That's all I've been watching. In terms of what I've been playing, I really haven't changed it up a lot this week. We got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Got to stream a little bit of that with my buddy Typod Nano last Friday. Good times playing with him. He hasn't played in a minute. He needs to up his game. We need to get back into some sets. Hopefully we'll be seeing each other very soon, going to locals. He's a good guy. A lot of fun with that. Of course, still playing that there Fortnite. I am very, very close to completing the battle pass. We only got 2 levels left to reach that glorious level 100 and complete it and get all the cosmetics. Yay. And just in time, because I believe by next week there will be a whole new season, which means they're probably going to change the map. They're going to add like new weapons, maybe even a new like gameplay mechanic. So I'll have more to talk about that, but that's exciting. And that's been fun. I did have like a moment on one of my, honestly, like I'd say Sunday was like the peak of my bad days, going back to the beginning of the podcast. And I was playing a few matches of Fortnite on Sunday, and they were going like extremely poor. Literally, one of the enemies I was hunting down, I was like shooting him from a distance and just picking away at some of his health. And I ended up like running into him again. He was like hiding in a corner with one weapon. And this is a weapon that I've never seen anyone use. It's called the harpoon gun. It essentially shoots out like a little grappling hook. It's more or less used to pick up items from a distance and pull them to you. But I didn't realize you can actually shoot it at people and it deals damage, and it actually does like 75 damage. This dude had 15 health because, like I said, I was just picking away at him from a distance. I just couldn't close in and get that last shot. And I had a fully kitted out like loadout. I had all my guns. I had like half my shields. I was decked out. Like I was ready to go into some battles, man. And this guy just skillfully like somehow outplayed the hell out of me. and it just really irked me. It didn't even like make me like gamer rage, like bang my keyboard or like punch my desktop. I was more or less just disappointed in myself. I'm like, I couldn't hit this dude once, and I literally just had to like take a break. I'd be like, I'm done. You know, I gotta take a break now. That was just brutal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It happens with any game, and it's because I took like a break from Fortnite a little bit, so I'm just trying to get back into it. I've been having fun. Like I played a few matches today before the podcast, and they actually went pretty well. And then last but not least, I did want to talk about, I'm still slowly picking away at Monster Hunter Rise. They actually did just recently update it and add some more monsters, as well as, I believe they said, the true ending. Because weirdly enough, when that game launched, it didn't have an ending. I'm not at any of that material yet because, like I said, I'm just very slowly picking away at this Monster Hunter game, which is a little unusual for me. I usually love to go head first at these and just grind away and fight all the monsters. I believe I'm at the 4-star missions, which I don't even know where I am in progress with the other missions in the game. But I've been having fun with that. I just have like so much fun like exploring those areas and hunting the different monsters. I was thinking about this the other day, and just the act of like hunting the monster down and just wailing on it and like, you know, just getting it to hit those like stagger states where you can just go in there and be like, yeah, I'm going to do big damage against its head or its tail to get this like drop of this item so I can craft this new piece of armor, or upgrade my switch axe or something like that. Like that whole like gameplay loop is just so much fun. And it just clicked in my head that I'm like, I understand why Monster Hunter is the equivalent of Call of Duty in like Japan, at least. Like it's the biggest game, and I completely get it. It's so much fun. And just the movement options with the new like wire bugs. I literally went into training mode for the first time and realized there was a move that my weapon had that I didn't even know it had. Like literally I wasn't using a core mechanic of the switch axe for the longest time. It's a blast. I'm still really enjoying the hell out of that game. Monster Hunter Rise. Check it out. I believe it's going to eventually come to like every other console, I think. I don't know. And then I just wanted to let everyone know, not really video game related, but I did buy a binder for some shiny cardboard I hope to purchase in the future.
Yay!
I went hunting over the weekend. But funny enough, the hunting, I guess I found a screw in my tire out of everything. But yeah, there wasn't really too many cards that I could find. I mean, I only went to 2 stores. I'm vicariously hunting. Like I'm not doing it as a major effort. It's just kind of like now whenever I go to like a Target or a Walmart or what have you, I'm going to check the card section. I might be like, oh, I'll buy a few packs of this, or oh, I'll buy like a tin or whatever I can find at this point. Maybe one day I'll buy like a whole box online or at a card shop and maybe do a video or two. I don't know. I'm very much just dabbling, getting my feet like a little wet here, trying to figure out what I want to do with this kind of stuff. Very not getting back into like competing in Yu-Gi-Oh whatsoever, but just like collecting the cards again because I think it's fun. And I can't tell you how many times like I'll be on Instagram and I just end up going on like Yu-Gi-Oh card like I don't know what the word for it, but just like accounts that just post like different card art, and I just love how like a lot of the Yu-Gi-Oh cards look. So that's why I just want to collect them, and I'm sure I'm even going to start collecting cards that I just liked back in the day. Like I would like to go buy some of the Infernity cards that I had, just like decks that I really liked, you know.
Oh, I hear you. I think Infinities right now are a good pickup. All it takes is Archfiend to go off the ban list.
That's true. I know it'd probably be pricey. Well, I mean, I don't really know. I haven't looked, but I would love to get the secret rare barriers again, or at least one in good condition.
Well, I hear you. And they are pretty affordable right now. Like, I mean, barriers are expensive. The first ZC secret barriers are expensive. I think they're probably the most expensive card, but like, they're not that much money, you know?
I will say I am glad that I kept one of the most rarest card. I have an original Frog the Jam, which I know now is Slime Frog, but that's a fake name. I have Frog the Jam, the McDonald's Pack 1. It is not in good condition, but I do have it.
You also have what the hell is that? Oh, yeah, and you have Water Spirit, your favorite monster ever.
the best tuner, the most handsomest, cutest boy. Surprisingly, he's on a few cards. Weirdly enough,
he always terrified me.
But that is gonna be it for my week. And now we are going to make the podcast. What's the word I'm looking for? We're going to transcend this podcast. We want your feedback. We are going to the question, the Insta question. Take it away, Mike.
So this week, I gotta bring up the question. This week the question was, what do you think is more important in game design between graphics and the gameplay?
If the girls have those big old bazungas, you know what I'm saying?
Look, if Jugga is any like indication of why graphics are important,
I love that. Yep.
But yeah, so we actually got seven votes, and only I'll say that 6 of the votes did go to gameplay. We had Purple Lightning Derp, aka Dr. E, aka Ethan Eastwood. We had Death One Collector. We had Cats Are Perfect. Oh, she sounds familiar.
Hey.
And Game Bro Corey. That guy sounds like a jerk. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I hate that guy.
Yeah, we had Dr. Chickens, and we had Owen Reese. All voting that gameplay is more important than graphics. I didn't partake in this for some reason, but I would have also voted for gameplay, because to me, that's the reason why you're playing the game. I think it ultimately, I don't care how pretty the game is, if the gameplay is not fun. Well, I'm sorry, I think I misspoke. I don't care how pretty the graphics are for the game or how pretty it is. If the gameplay, in my opinion, is not good, then why are you playing the game?
Likewise, I am 100% gameplay first instead of graphics.
However, we did get the GameCube pod. They did actually vote that they think graphics are the most important. I would love to hear. I would love to hear the reasoning behind this, though. I'm not saying that they're wrong. It's just that hey, I do like pretty graphics on my games. I do. I just feel like, I guess one example is a game like Anthem is a game that is like, and that's like a modern game that's gorgeous looking, but the gameplay is just not fun, from what people say. So then the game just doesn't do well. I'm trying to think of other examples of games that just look incredible and the gameplay is bad.
I need to think. I was gonna point out like all the games I mentioned earlier, like go watch the 4K versions of Horizon Forbidden West, Far Cry 6, Dying Light 2, Stay Human. Like those games look so pretty, but they also look like they're a lot of fun. I agree with you. I'm trying to think of games that graphically look incredible, but then the gameplay is like, what are we doing here?
I guess one thing I can think of is a game like, this is probably hit and miss, because I'm sure at the time I remember all the hype about Sonic 06. It's funny because we were talking about Sonic earlier.
True.
Sonic 06 obviously looked really good, and then when the game came out, there were some graphical issues, but the game, I would say, is still very pretty for its time. And obviously, gameplay wise, it's less than preferable.
Something that I would call out here is, I know a lot of fighting game players are very picky when it comes to their certain fighting game. Like, I personally like to just go with whatever the modern fighting game is. I feel like in that sense, I generally will go with the graphics, but you have a lot of fighting game players who are like, oh, you play Third Strike, you don't play Street Fighter 5, or oh, you play Tekken. I don't know the Tekken that everyone plays. Let's say you play Tekken 2.
3.
You don't, or Tekken 3. You don't play Tekken 7 or whatever. Even like Super Smash Brothers. Like, I love Ultimate, but I know there are many people who love Melee. That's their favorite game. I get it. It's just not my thing. Also, I was going to say, I think an interesting question, which obviously we don't want to do it next week because it's too similar, but we should have did the oldest question in the book, which is, do you prefer the story of a game or do you prefer the gameplay, That
would have been, I think, a better question. I think there's definitely going to be more of there'll be more balance on the left and the right side of who, because I do agree, like, graphics are pretty like gimmicky, but when it comes to the story or the gameplay, that's where you can think like, hey, some people just love playing the game to see. I want to see what happens, Like, yeah, sure, the gameplay is not as fun, but I just want to see what happens. So I totally understand that might be a better question for next week.
You know, one
We'll
that
see.
one that I can think of, which I'm sure some people would say maybe I'm wrong or is controversial, is I've heard a lot of people don't really love the gameplay of The Last of Us, but those games do look incredible. Some people say that gameplay is a little boring or maybe too stealth focused, but it's just opinions.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I've seen I've seen the gameplay of the original Last of Us. I played a bit myself. I've seen you play Last of Us Part 2. I think the gameplay looks like a lot of fun. I've always liked these kind of games. And visually, yeah, both games are very impressive. So, I guess again, to each their own. I was kind of just curious, and I think we got a good little turnout. So it just seems like everyone seems to be on they agree with us that the gameplay is probably the more important thing for them.
All right. So I'm going to rapid fire these names. Tell me if I missed anyone or said their name wrong. Thank you, everyone who answered the question this week, and that is Purple Lightning Dirt, which is Dr. Ethan, Cats Are Perfect, Death One Collector, Owen Reese, that weirdo Game Bro Corey, Day and Night Gaming, and the GameCube Pod.
No, I'm sorry. It was Dr. Chickens, not Day and Night Gaming.
Oh, my bad. I had just
Day and Night Gaming. Why didn't you answer the question?
They asked another week, and I had them written down here. So, hey, shout-outs Day and Night Gaming, and shout-outs Dr. Chicken. Dr. Chickens with a Z, right?
Chickens with a Z, yeah. Yes.
I
spelled it with an S the one time, and I got death thrusts in the mail.
I do want to shout out Dr. Chickens. I was telling you in private that I started watching some of his content. It's very entertaining. Go check him out on YouTube. If you like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pack openings. Does he do Pokemon as well?
He does Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Yeah.
There you go.
Big shout out to Dr. Chickens.
But with that being said, that's going to do it for the Level With Me podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. We always appreciate you, sharing the podcast with a friend or family, whoever. Just, help us grow a little bit.
Or your pet,
Yeah, why not? Pet rock, just put the headphones on. As well as, giving us a follow. You can find the podcast on Podbean, Spotify, Pandora, Apple Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you can find podcasts. And if you can't find us on one of your podcast providers, let us know.
Then we'll find you.
I'll try to get it on there. That too. But yeah, that'll help. As well as I never even thought about this, but rate the podcast if you can. If you rate us a higher score, I think that helps us being higher levels of gaming podcasts. I mean, we're probably at the top already, but why not just help us stay at the top? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. As well as go check out the Level With Me YouTube channel. We are always adding new episodes of our Let's Plays on there, like Mike mentioned earlier, and I didn't even get to talk about. We played more No More Heroes. That was great. We're very close to the end of that. We fought, oh God, I'm blanking on her name. What was the name of the witch?
Bad Girl?
Buster something?
Speedbuster,
yeah. And Bad Girl. We fought. We're going to be adding new episodes of those boss fights coming up very soon, as well as AM2R. We're getting pretty close to finishing AM2R too, right?
Yeah, I think a few more sessions and we'll be wrapping that up.
So, tantalizing new Let's Plays in the future, maybe.
Yes. Oh man, my nips are getting pretty hard already.
And besides all that great content, there's also tons of Let's Plays on there that are already completed. We have Super Mario World, we have Metroid Zero Mission, we have Luigi's Mansion 3, as well as you can find all the podcasts archived on there. That's your thing. That's Level With Me on YouTube. You can find myself, Game Bro Corey, on the Twitches. I'm hoping to be back on there, stream some more Fortnite, some more Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Come check me out at twitch.tv/GameBroCorey, as well as check out my Instagram and my Twitter, which is just Game Bro Corey. Usually I post updates on when I'm going live on Twitch, as well as just other, funny little memes or little pictures of things I like. My Twitter, I usually retweet a lot of Godzilla art or video game art. Sometimes I'll comment on new video game stories that are coming out there. The Instagram, a lot of food, a lot of just nice nature pictures I take. Sometimes I'll post if I get a new game, I'll be like, oh, look at this. I add this game to the collection, So go check those out. What about you, Mike? Where are you going to be? Where can people find you?
Well, if you guys want to find me, I'll be at the garage paying a stupid amount of money to get my car fixed.
Oh God!
And I'll be in tears.
I'll be right next to you. Be like, oh, you're here too.
First time. But yeah, if you guys want to find me,
a cartoon barrel.
I'll be selling all my cards to pay for the car repairs.
Do you guys accept Charizards?
You guys accept Dogecoin?
They have a grade rating of 8.
Yeah, that's good for about 1 tire. Aww. But yeah, if you guys want to find me, you can find me on YouTube and Instagram at the Clutchers Vault. Again, we'll have everything linked down below. If you guys like collectibles, collectible trading cards like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, sports cards, sports memorabilia, any of that stuff, I think you'll find a friend in me over at my channel and my Instagram. I usually post a lot. I try to just show cool stuff, do a few product openings, a couple of memes and jokes every now and again. And actually, I'm considering doing this because I do like making memes. I was considering doing a TikTok, so that way I could at least way I could do like little just like little like talk about cards and everything, but kind of just add more humor to it. I don't know. We'll see.
I approve. I would also really like to get into TikTok. I think it's a good
platform.
Yep, and you can have a lot of fun with it. There are great content creators on TikTok.
Yeah, I can't wait to give the Chinese all my information. Let's go. Anyway, sorry for all of our Chinese followers. Anywho, but yeah, thank you guys for being part of the community and helping our little group grow. No, did I lose Corey? There he is.
I'm here. I thought you were still complimenting our listeners.
Oh, did I? I thought I was done.
And how great their shirts are. Where'd you get that? Kohl's? I love it.
I'm waiting for them to have level with me shirts. That'd be cool.
Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Hey, let us know if you guys want shirts. Then maybe we'll consider it. We'll sell them for $100 a piece, so that way we can fund the channel.
I tell you what, as long as they're not wearing what I'm wearing a dubious shirt right now.
Yeah, I'm wearing
this podcast has no video.
Yeah, and I'm wearing nothing actually.
Oh,
I didn't say anything because I didn't think it would come up in conversation. But here we are.
It is summertime. It's getting hot out there. It
is pretty warm.
Get those
out there,
ACs installed.
Yeah, I had some hot wings for dinner, so I'm a little sweaty. So I had to and when my shirt goes right.
That chair is getting damp.
Yeah, I'm kind of stuck to it. It's not good.
Right.
I would turn the AC on, but I can't reach it.
Amanda, get the spatula.
Yeah. No, the bigger one.
All right, I think that's good. See you guys.
Have a good one.